Previously on Miss President.
Shamala Immaculate, Lucy Daisy Mwangi, Harun Mohammed, and Pantoren Elizabeth. If you never called today your lucky day, I don't know how many you'll have throughout this year. We will allow you back into the house. However, you're all on probation.
And now, a quick look at the contestants still in the academy. The coalitions have been disbanded and the contestants are competing at an individual level. Mazde! That was close. What a relief. No one went home last week, but as we all saw, the judge's message was very clear. The race, my brothers and sisters at home, it go on. As we approach the 2-kilometer mark in this marathon race, what surprises lie in store? And I will ask again and again and again, is Kenya ready for a female president? Similar to last week's show, tonight's kicks off with 10 candidates as no one went home last week. Now, what has changed in this block is the parties have been disbanded and every contestant is competing as an individual. No one can hide within the comfort of the group. We now see them and judge them for who they really are. So tonight, Nayanaka, Randa home. In the next series of episodes, the tasks get more complex and a lot of thought and consideration must be given before the eliminations. Each episode is filmed over a span of 2 days. Day 1, we are training and a possible site visit. Day 2, presentations, nominations, alafu kuchomolewa. Over 1,000 applications were received from all over Kenya, and from these, 70 contestants were shortlisted. After a series of auditions, 40 women were selected and they are battling it out at the academy, where they are going through a process of training, tasks, challenges, problem-solving activities, presentations and eliminations to eventually be elected Miss President. Together, let us follow each stage of this competition and watch these very capable women try to convince the judges and you at home, myself included, why they should make it to the next stage of the competition. Here are the counties that are represented by the remaining contestants. Now, let's meet our esteemed judges for this episode.
I'm Dr. Zipporah Okoth. I'm a lecturer of film and theatre arts at Kenyatta University. I'm also the founder of the Lake International Pan-African Film Festival. I'm a gender consultant and a performing artist. I'm looking for people who are informed, presentable, firm, and have a purpose.
Hi, I'm Jerry Kirene. I work in the policy environment, helping various small groups lobby for better laws for business. I'm a tough judge. I'm no nonsense. The minute you come before me, you better know your stuff. If you don't, well, you can only expect a challenge.
My name is Maureen Chepkoech Mtai. I am currently the Kenya Youth Representative to the United Nations from the 73rd UNGA, and I also work at the Youth Programs Office of the President. And I believe in also making a difference because there's no restriction to it once you focus.
The gears have shifted. The terrain inakuwa ngumu sana. And you can feel the tension, the nerves, but also the quick comebacks, wit and resilience of each one of our contestants as they continue on this path to leadership. Steve Jobs famously said, and I quote, "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." Government leaders know that most of the emerging technologies will likely impact their mission areas. The main challenge is how can the leaders prioritize which emerging technologies warrant the use of their often limited resources. So, Let's pick up pen and paper to jot down some notes and thought as we listen to what Mwalimu has to talk about in today's training on innovation and emerging technologies.
Hello, my name is Sheila Kakao Chigoju. My background is I trained in biochemistry. I was working on genetically modified viruses for pest control because we were looking at how we can learn from nature and innovate and invent new things and ultimately to alleviate poverty.
Give him a coffee.
Thank you so much. So today we're going to talk about innovation and emerging technologies, because no matter what you're doing in any field of leadership, whatever, you're going to be impacted by innovations, and you're going to have to make decisions about emerging technologies and how you're going to use them, where you're going to use them, which ones you're going to use, and how useful they're going to be, and what those impacts could be, positive and negative. What do you understand by innovation?
Innovation is the art of using creative ways to come up with strategic solutions.
I think ultimately innovation, in my opinion, has an aspect of commercialization of that idea so that then you can create better revenue and make money from it.
I mean, simply put, it is something new, but it's all those things. It's a process, it's about value addition, it's about, ideas, and it's all about the layering of those things. So thank you, I think we've covered the spectrum. Let's look at innovations that you think are particularly transformational, and why do you think so?
In Kenya, we have the M-Pesa system. And to me, this has been transformational because even if you go to the rural areas now, you don't necessarily need to have, like liquid money to transact something as small as buying sukuma wiki.
Airbnb, that is in Kenya and all over the world, where you can live anywhere in the world, and also it's an opportunity for a young person. You can rent a room to any person in the world, charge them dollars, get your money, and it has transformed the whole way that we do hotels worldwide.
So innovation and emerging technologies go alongside each other. What I want to talk about with you particularly in terms of you as Miss President and your heart for leadership is what types of innovations and emerging technologies fit particularly well in the context of transformational leadership. So let's try and be a bit more particular. Okay, I'll just split the room into two. So you're kind of two groups, and but as individuals, I'll ask you to come up with an idea of what you imagine. So you know your context, you know what you have a passion for. What kind of innovation could you imagine? Hasn't happened yet, but would you like to see? Take one thing, whether it's in health or in agriculture or whatever, and imagine, take it a little bit further to 2063 and dream that it's happened. Begin to see it and think about, what would the world look like? What solutions would that offer? And we'll give you like 15, 20 minutes to discuss it within yourselves. And then as a group, you're going to present this new Kenya that has these 5 amazing things. It's 2063, this has happened.
Based on technology.
But again, to be employed.
So, in this section, I'm going to invite each of you to come up and talk about your innovations, and then we're going to look at how together these innovations transform a country. Okay? Welcome.
So by 2063, I'm envisioning that each and every person will have access to a phone, and just not a phone, a smartphone. So my innovation is an e-Mukulima application that is a supply demand chain for both farmers and consumers. It will be a one-stop shop for both farmers and consumers.
The challenge that we have in my community is education. We lack resources in terms of the teachers that we have. So my thinking is having one big classroom. For instance, if Garissa High School has no teacher today to teach them maths, they can directly just link up with a classroom that's going on in a different part of the country but has a good teacher. And also some universities in my area do not have enough lecturers, so you can directly engage a lecturer who is at Harvard, and that way different people, different communities get to understand each other. You can ask questions and all that. So one big classroom.
My dream for Kenya 2063 is if we could have genetically modified plant, that when we plant maize, whatever comes out is millet, sorghum, maize, beans. It diversifies itself, and so that we are able to have diversification of plants, and so that we don't depend on maize, and our farmers consciously now start also appreciating diversification. Yes, we can.
I mean, I think I'm curious that nobody talked about health or security or any of those other things, because in your society, food is your #1 issue. And it may be that there have been wars, there have been famine, you know, so it's good for you to think about, if this is your #1 concern, what happened that this is your #1 concern? Thank you for that.
So what I envisage to see in 2063 is a manufacturing factory that actually manufactures organs. Because right now what we have are gadgets that you put insulin, and they can be able to inject insulin and, regulate insulin. But you see, the insulin itself is very expensive. The drugs are also very expensive. Personally, I spend 500 shillings every day on drugs for diabetes, so that we just have one-time expense rather than always living in drugs.
I am in the engineering industry, construction industry, and my innovation for 2063 is that we may have chameleon tiles and ceilings. The beauty part of it is that every day you wake up, for example, if your tiles are of this color, there are some colors that you want to put in your curtains, and your seats, but you can't. So you're like, but I should have done this color. In the malls now, they are going to be used for security. In a mall, we have many people, and most of them have earphones and all that. So even if we have an alarm, not everyone is going to hear. But what if the tiles and the ceilings change the color? Everyone will be like, there is danger, and now we run. Yes.
By the year 2063, I'm proposing to have a technology of what I'm calling the security toggle. The minute you activate it, and you will just need to touch it to activate it, whatever it is on your body, one, it will switch on what I call a 3D camera that will be now taking, pictures of what it is that is going on around you. Other security issues can be layered onto it. Remember, it's for safety.
Thank you so much. Clap for yourselves. Thank you. So, we have now done two things. We've looked at innovation, we've looked at emerging technologies, we've looked at the societal context, and you have been able to see how these link and need to link to other people's passions in order for anything real and sustainable to develop. Thank you so much. Clap for yourselves.
We have a surprise for you, Your Excellencies. We're going to go on a field trip. Yeah, I know. So we're going to combine the training today and something tangible. So I'm going to allow Mwalimu Daktari to come and explain in detail where the excellencies are going.
So today we're going on a field trip, and we're going to speak to an amazing woman entrepreneur. She's won lots of awards, but what's interesting about her is that she's innovating on her business model. She's taken into account the impact of her business on the climate. And so we're looking at this in terms of, here is an amazing example right here in Kenya of the circular economy and how we can do more with our waste.
Right, here we are in Kikuyu at a place called Fun Kids. So this whole lesson, in as far as innovation and emerging technologies for a sitting president.
Thank you.
What does that mean?
Now, there will be situations. I mean, the real power of leadership is how you can adapt to changing situation. So how quickly do you adapt? How nimble are you? And that's the word for that is resilience. How do you come back from shocks? Your leadership has to be resilient, because Africa is a continent full of challenges. We need resilient leaders and resilient people. Before we go in here, let's first of all just have a quick look at this wonderfully fun idea. So you know that a big challenge all around the world is electrical waste. These things live forever. How do you get rid of that? It's not biodegradable, and we're throwing away our phones, our TVs. What are we going to do with them? And so these lamps, what I love about this is it challenges young people to think about what's inside the things that you look at. And so we hope it provokes them to think broadly, get us some engineers and some techies out there, so it's really fun. So this lamp and this lamp as well, which just takes, it's an inside-out idea. Really fun. The tie-dyes, it's very West African. And I know she goes to Kikomba market and just picks strips of material. And you know that fashion waste is another industry that we don't know what to do with, because we have so much disposable fashion now, but it's also not degradable. What are we going to do with it? We can make furniture out of it. And it has wheels. And it has wheels, you know. Just robust furniture, good for schools. Yeah. So she has two chairs that I think are really fun. One made with belts and another one made with ties, men's ties. That's so fun. These are, models. So like, architectural models, but instead of making them out of wood as they often do, you just use recycled materials, because you can just cut the panels. These are the 10 lovely ladies who are vying for Mr. President.
Lovely to meet you.
Amazing ladies from all around.
Congratulations. Thank you, and karibuni.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Karibu sana, thank you. My name is...
So Fun Kids cares about 4 pillars. We care about manufacturing quality products, from when you're born to right to almost university age. We care about nutrition. We care about the food children eat. We care about skills. Everybody's talking about TVET. It's not theory. It's a reality. We need people who have skills. We also care about education. We know our education system has its pluses and its minuses. So if I care, what am I doing about it? We complement it. And we train children in here on the holidays, on Saturdays, from the age of 7, right to campus, on how to manufacture.
Not many women are in manufacturing. I come from Kajiado County, where we have a lot of animals, hence we have a lot of leather, but there is no one manufacturing industry. So my question related to that is, what one thing can government do to help manufacturing not to be so challenging to you as a person? And then what advice would you give a woman who is interested in entering the manufacturing industry?
What can you do to start? Manufacturing doesn't start big. Even at the back of your house is manufacturing. Before you get to a big industry, you've made something. True? True. So Kajiado, you're talking about the leather. What we need to go back to is understand how we look after our cattle under animal husbandry. Once you have a better animal, then the hide is of value. Then you approach your buyers. And once the buyers say, we love it, then you know there's an opportunity, then you set up your industry. And then you can go to government and say, look, this is an opportunity, we have quality cattle, we have quality hide, and we have a market, support us. So I take it back to us.
Are you in any case involved with the Ministry of Environment? They are not doing very well in terms of managing bottle litter. They have managed the paper bag, but bottle, they're taking so long to do that.
I received this award for our innovative solutions around addressing environmental challenges from the Ministry of Environment to us as a small business. We, each of us, if you think there's a problem with bottle litter, what are you doing about it? Honestly, aren't we the ones who drink and throw out of in our homes? What's your home policy on waste management? Ask yourselves that before you blame. They can only do so much, but we are the ones creating the waste every day. The filth affects you, not only government. Do something about it.
This Fun Kids sums up everything, because if you look at education, for it to be quality, it's not just about the content being delivered, but it's how conducive is the environment. If they have a small garden made of, products that they use every day, like the Crocs shoes, and I mean, that's innovation itself. So it has everything to do with the class we learn to do.
I really did appreciate the facilitation today. It broke it down very well. I could be able to put bits and pieces together. Yeah, so I think it was value added. I think today was a good day for me.
For me, it is just like opening your mind from paper to the practical aspect of it by the seeing is believing approach, which we did today.
Over 1,000 applications were received from all over Kenya, and from these, 70 contestants were shortlisted. After a series of auditions, 40 women were selected, and they are battling it out at the academy, where they are going through a process of training, tasks, challenges, problem-solving activities, presentations, and eliminations to eventually be elected Miss President. Together, let us follow each stage of this competition and watch these very capable women try to convince the judges and you at home, myself included, why they should make it to the next stage of the competition. Here are the counties that are represented by the remaining contestants. And now, a quick look at the contestants still in the academy. The coalitions have been disbanded and the contestants are competing at an individual level. A quick summary of today's training. Innovation is the process of translating an idea or invention into a good or service that creates value. Secondly, how leaders can prioritize which emerging technologies warrant the use of their often limited resources.
Our task: innovate. You have to come up with an innovation. The sector that we are looking at is climate. So you have to first of all identify what the problem is and how does this particular problem impact the poor and the vulnerable. But the important thing that I want you to think about is the platform that you will use for your solution. Where we're really going to judge is scale of impact. How will it reach a cross-section of the population, at least 1 million Kenyans within 3 years?
We have come to the end of day one. Since the parties have been disbanded, there will be no more group assignments. Each one of the contestants will have to come up with their own presentations and response to the assignment given. Day 2, and here we are. Remember, each assignment will be judged as a work of an individual, and I am so looking forward to seeing the presentations. Our contestants are always ready to give us their best shot in the true spirit of leadership. At home, welcome. We are in a part called a presentation, where the judges come in, listen to the presentations, of course, make the decisions about who then eventually is going to be outside the confines of this academy. So without further ado, judges, you ready? Carol Chege, you're up first.
The arid and semi-arid land in Kenya is home to about 10 million Kenyans, and 70% of them live below the poverty line. This is because of frequent droughts, because of intensified climate change. So the innovation that I bring is the innovation solution of green rock farming. The rocks that you can grow on these are sedimentary rocks. So how will this work? Through collaborative partnerships and utilizing of technology. Also engaging the local government administration. This is the sub-county commissioners and the county agricultural ministry. Also engaging the local government administration. This is the sub-county commissioners and the county agricultural ministry.
Pastoralism is the most viable economic land use in Asal area. It contributes to 12% to the GDP. To make it worse, there's what we call climate variability that's affecting them. I've come up with a smartphone pastoralist mobile innovation platform, one that will be able to send messages to the mobile phones of the herders issues of pasture availability. The other application is in terms of identification of animals. The farmer can sit somewhere and know where the animals are. Unlike before, where they use bells. And then there's also another platform that is a chip that you put into the rumen of the animal and be able to dictate a disease outbreak. And that you'll be able to help the pastoralist cope with climate change and to the productions. Thank you very much. God bless you.
My task was on climate innovation, and the key area of my focus is agriculture, because Trans Nzoia is an agricultural county. Productivity has decreased so much because there's too much acidity of the soil and over dependence of one crop. How about if we diversify? How about if we also use technology to test our soils so that we can be able to modify or we can be able to reduce the acidity? Let us support climate innovation by accessing or enabling an environment where we can access finance. Whoever is innovative should not be taxed. And this particularly to the youth who are so very innovative. And lastly, to develop a climate-related data mobile application. Thank you very much.
The Kenya Forest Service put our forest cover at 5% in 2016, down from 10% in 1963. Erratic rainfall patterns have brought floodings of rain, resulting in poor crop yields. My solution is to develop an Android-supported mobile phone application called Ukiona Piga Picha. Now, through this phone, any Kenyan can send a video, a picture, or a text describing their occurrence in their areas. So what will we be solving? This application will be mapping out disaster-prone areas in terms of floods and landslides. This app will also be mapping out emerging patterns of how animals move. And then this application will also be sharing our best practices. Thank you very much.
Drought in our country is getting more frequent, it is getting more severe. The National Assembly enacted the Climate Change Act 11 of 2016 that made provisions for the creation of the National Drought Management Authority for the sake of coordination and management of a response insofar as drought is concerned. So what exactly is this precision irrigation? This is an emerging innovation in irrigation technology. It is made up of simple plastic pipes that deliver water directly to the roots of the plants, feeding the plant and not the soil, and as such lowers the cost. My government will partner very closely with the private sector, with development partners, civil society, academic institutions, county governments, and faith-based organizations insofar as social mobilization and continuous capacity enhancement around this new innovation is concerned.
Kirinyaga and Central Region at large has been seen as the food basket of this country for the longest time. The problem is that the weather patterns have changed and we do not have the information about this. How can we come up with a way of detecting our weather patterns before we plant and we don't have anything to harvest? We will come up with a mobile application that can be used by farmers to track weather patterns as well as areas that are existing under irrigation so that we can curb the change in agricultural land to other uses. The app also incorporates options of connecting farmers to the markets. We are going to do it in Kirinyaga and also extend it to our neighbors in Nyeri and Murang'a. Thank you very much.
Garissa County is in northeastern part of Kenya, a region that is known to be very dry. There's a certain notorious crop, it's called the madenge tree. It has taken over the grazing land, displacing a lot of pasture. So the innovation that I foresee, and which also the county has foreseen, this plant can be a good source of energy. And the plant itself is medicinal. It also acts as a good dewormer for the sheep and can generate a lot of energy. And then it will be an income for revenue for the county, more jobs for young people. It will also bring investors to our county. And also, the country is currently migrating from the dependency of rain-reliant hydropower and generators. So that's also a good solution because we'll be offering energy. Thank you so much.
Taita Taveta is a hidden treasure, and we have rich mineral resources, gemstones, and industrial minerals. So much as we have small-scale miners, most of them do not have the equipment to be able to mine quickly. Miners just mine blindly. So I'm suggesting an innovation where we are going to update this cadastre and we're going to create an app in our mobile phones so that at the press of a button you can be able to access your registration in the cadastre and you can be able to know what kind of minerals do you have in your area, how far are they, what is the value, what is the quantity. Also in this app I think we can also be able to link the miners to the market because the market is there but the middleman interference is too huge. And the water that is used to wash the minerals can be used to plant and reforestate the mining areas. Thank you very much.
I come from the great county of Nyamira, but we do have a problem, and it is in the area of riparian land and water catchment area conservation. As a leader from Nyamira County, I have therefore decided to come up with a proposal that is a revolutionary response to this particular problem, and I call it the Protect and Conserve Nyamira County Water Catchment and Other Riparian Areas. The Department of Environment, Energy, Mining and Natural Resources will be responsible for monitoring and evaluation and ensuring that this process is actually taking place. How we intend to monitor this process will be through a mobile banking platform. This app will be able to track the progress made by the various communities, record amount of rainfall recorded, and temperatures of the catchment areas. For a period of 1 year, we'll be able to deal with 400,000 people, and in the annual devolution conference, we'll showcase this to other counties as well. Thank you.
Where I come from, that is Karachonyo, 80% rely on fish farming. Lake Victoria is not serving us. The fish stock has dwindled. We have the hyacinth. My goal is to improve efficiency in productivity of fish. We ease the pressure on the lake. I'm proposing a digital sensors that will be in the lake to monitor the oxygen levels, to collect a lot of data on pollution, and also when fish are supposed to be stocked. And I want to link this to a digital app. It's called FishNet. So this app will be developed from the county funding because we have money. Agriculture is devolved. I want to reach 1 million Kenyans in 3 years. I'll use the Lake Region Economic Block, then streamline the supply chain, but also county at national level. We have the Big Four agenda, we have climate change policy, manufacturing will create jobs, and then we also have property rights for everyone. Thank you.
So, my dear contestants, I observed that in your presentation, the main challenge you're having is you're spending a lot of time painting the picture for us. Make sure that you come out immediately with what it is you're proposing. Make it more practical. Don't be too academic. The Madenge tree. The only thing I wanted to hear more from you is how this Madenge tree would have been used for energy. Because if I was an investor and I want to come and invest in your county, that's the first thing I'll be thinking of. So you have to have a very 360 approach.
Precision irrigation is not very new, but innovation doesn't have to be something entirely new. What I was waiting for is, what new thing are you bringing about in this precision irrigation? And that is what we needed to bring out. Otherwise, I think generally there has been a great improvement. And this is the way to go. Because at this pace, now we are not even racing anymore. I think we should start flying, eh? Yeah.
Nomination, of course, starts, so you know what the drill is about.
Because I felt that she was unable to move the lessons beyond the theoretical framework of it into the practice.
Everyone was really good today, but I felt like she kept second-guessing herself.
I didn't feel that translating into a tangible innovation.
Over 1,000 applications were received from all over Kenya, and from these, 70 contestants were shortlisted. After a series of auditions, 40 women were selected, and they are battling it out at the academy, where they are going through a process of training, tasks, challenges, problem-solving activities, presentations, and eliminations to eventually be elected Miss President. Together, let us follow each stage of this competition and watch these very capable women try to convince the judges and you at home, myself included, why they should make it to the next stage of the competition. Here are the counties that are represented by the remaining contestants. And now, a quick look at the contestants still in the academy. The coalitions have been disbanded and the contestants are competing at an individual level.
Welcome back. It's about that time. But however, I'm thinking today I'm going to get a different vibe from the judges because we saw a different contestant today. We saw a very driven, a very open, like eyes have been open kind of presentation. All of them were brilliant.
We saw different contestants,
yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
Some of them have now started bringing out their own perception of, because today's topic was interesting, innovation.
Yes.
And we found some contestants who understood issues within their region, and they understood what innovation would be within that context,
yes,
which I think was fantastic. So it's been a good lesson today.
Right. Zippy?
Right now, you have to fight for your space. There are people who did not take the assignment seriously, and they're still doing a lot of research within application. There is a lot of research and background, but implementation of the innovation is not coming out clearly. And for that, I think we have passed that stage of trying to beg people to be able to apply things. And so, if you didn't get it right, you just go home. We move on.
Maureen, your thoughts?
I feel it's more of delimited in regards to how you take in as innovation. What exactly, to you personally, do you understand innovation?
All right, yes.
So they've limited their thinking into what I believe as a person, innovation, in retrospect of what exactly it means entirely to a common.
So first you have to understand what innovation is.
Yes.
Then connect that to emerging technologies, then
apply.
Oh. I don't know who's going. So I guess you'll tell me when you find out. When you both find out. We'll be right back.
We have come to that moment that will decide the fate of someone tonight. Who will stay? Who will be put on probation? Who will be going home?
Hello, ladies. We are very glad to be here now. On that note, I'll hand over to Judge Njeri to call forward those who have been nominated for elimination.
So if Caroline Chege, could you please come forward? Nerea Mondi, please come forward. Irene Mayaka, please come forward. Lucy Daisy Mwangi, please come forward. Shamala Immaculate, please come forward. So Lucy. Tell me, based on what you are proposing from the very beginning, which is using a mobile phone as a solution, as the platform to deliver your solution, how does that directly connect to water harnessing, using the phone?
This is a mobile app that is going to help us know what would happen, the weather forecast. So if we know that it is going to rain and all that, it means that we could be ready to know how to harness water using dikes. So now I was connecting. This is a mobile app, yes. It has solved. It is supposed to solve this problem, but now I looked at it as an engineer. That is why I talked about harnessing of water and, of course, the construction of dams so that it can be used later in the irrigation schemes.
But you can see it didn't come out clearly in your presentation.
Yeah.
You can appreciate that. Sure. Thank you. Have a seat. I shall call Shamala to the front. You talked about taxation in terms of whoever has been innovative. What exactly did you mean?
Now, what my thought was is there's a lot of innovators in Kenya, a lot of them, and more so the young people. But our country should take time to invest in ideas, because ideas build mountains, ideas transform. How about to entice and also motivate our innovators? How about probably not taxing the innovators or probably reducing the tax on a few, issues here and there? That is what I meant. How do we motivate our innovators?
You've rightly pointed out the correct word for what you're trying to express, which is incentives.
Yes.
So, it is not realistic to say they should not be taxed.
Okay.
because then I don't know who will buy that proposal. Take your time to really think about everything you're talking about and find the correct word so that people do not misunderstand you at all.
True.
Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I shall hand over to our guest judge, Judge Maureen.
Mine was to Caroline Chege. I wanted to understand, in the comparison of the stone versus the soil, moving from soil to stone, what is the analysis that you did where you saw maybe in regards to growth, if a plant was planted in a stone, it will grow faster maybe or in lesser time than in a soil, and if there's a best practice that maybe that has worked successfully, and what is the success rate of that happening?
My idea was to have sedimentary rock combust centers at the ward level, at the village level, that are community championed, community owned, and that way you can engage the community with the help of research, agricultural research experts and environmental research experts. It's not happened, but I was proposing the idea that it could happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
My last question is to Nerea. In regards to creating a factory, has that ever crossed maybe your company's mind in regards to harvesting what we already have? Like the Nile patch being an example, where you can use the string in between to make the surgical. That's the one which is used for the surgical thread.
Yes.
The bones are used for a toothpick, the skin is made. So in short, there's nothing going to waste.
I proposed, if you looked at my presentation, that the county actually has a processing factory. We'll have a drying chambers for the different types of fish. We'll also have the cooling plant to ensure that we have the fresh fish that we need to take to the market. But I also welcome that idea. When I looked at what Simon in Kisumu did of the leather, that inspired me. But also looking at this as an additional opportunity, I would actually take that and bring it into the county. We are willing to change the lives of the people of Homa Bay, and I'm contributing to it in a positive way. And thank you very much.
Definitely.
I think I'll call our final, Irene. Irene, you had a very lovely presentation. And it's good that you gave us this write-up. Now, looking at your work, 3 years is such a long time for an app to go around to only 4 million people. Why do you want to reach only 25% of your target population?
My thought process was that we would want to showcase this in an exhibition format at the annual Devolution Conference. And given the number of people who usually come in for the conference, those are the people that I would first target before I would want to reach out to the rest of Kenyans.
There was a little bit conflict in your work because you are talking about annual Devolution Conference where it is the who and whos who attend. The large-scale farmers are the ones who are attending those devolution conferences, yet the main farmers here are not. Your Chemi Chemi program is for youth who are also not owners of the land. We can't say they are farmers, they are farm workers. And you have a very lovely innovation, but I wish you could be able to narrow down and find out where exactly is the gap and fill that.
Okay, I take that as feedback. It's very constructive feedback, and I will take that into account.
Yeah, so with those ideas, I think I'll allow you to sit down. Now, with the permission of my fellow judges, after much deliberation, we feel that Lucy Daisy Mwangi, we think we should let you go home. Not to rest, but to keep on inspiring other young girls to become better at their work and to become better leaders. Thank you so much. To the others who are having another chance in the academy, I need to see people flying. So choose your plane and choose your pilot very well. Thank you so much.
I really think what I'm carrying home right now is that sometimes it's not about your skill, it's not about your knowledge, it's not about your age. Life is not all about what you want, but I am so proud I made it to top 10 from 1,000. You know, that is an achievement anyway. And I was the second youngest in top 10. So, well, it is an achievement.
I would want to tell Miss Daisy that she has great potential and that she has displayed that in her there is leadership that is coming up. And much as you are living, this is not the end of everything. At some point, all of us, even the first one, will still live.
Key learning today for me is in terms of when I think about an idea, especially in the line of innovation, I need to come down, to the ground and just, figure out how to quickly and easily translate a policy level issue to the grassroots.
After a busy and highly charged day at the academy, it's time to take a breather. For some, probation calls for a meeting with self in order to assess or change strategies so as to remain in the competition. For others, goodbyes to newfound friends will close the day.
I just can't. I can't keep up with the judges. One contestant goes home tonight, not to rest, but to keep on inspiring other young girls to become better at their work and to become better leaders. I honestly thought that no one was going home today, as all presentations at a homeowner. Zilikuwa noma sana. Oh well, that's how it is. As Judge Zippy told the contestants, I need to see people fly. So choose your plane and your pilot very well. Next week, Nisiku So, join us as we tackle yet another interesting topic and task. By the way, you have thoughts, opinions, compliments, suggestions, tweet us on @media_focus. Facebook ni @mediafocus on Africa. Check us out on Instagram @mediafocus on Africa. Do share your thoughts. Si upenda kusikia from you, maze. So, andika. My greatest wish is to see a global community where our society is embracing internet technology to positively change lives and improve the efficiency of work done in our offices. Dorcas Modoni, founder of Open World Limited.